Did Adam Peters and the Commanders make the right move, trading away Jahan Dotson to the Philadelphia Eagles? At J Daniels MVP tweeted us, yes and no. Yes, because it seems like Dotson had an attitude issue and he had a bad camp. Definitely had a bad camp. Not sure about the attitude. Said no because we traded him to the Eagles. I don't think people love trading a guy in the division.
The part to the Eagles was the biggest stunner, to be honest. That was the biggest. And I'm fine with it. If they've evaluated it, and, whatever. Play him twice, whatever. But
it was
that
obviously
was
the best deal. It's the best offer.
Yeah, so that's what he did. Yeah.
What do your instincts say if you haven't checked the early percentages are? Right move, yes. Wrong move, no.
I think people are invested in him, and they want
I'll
him
say it's
to
pretty
hit.
close. I'm going to say it's close to 50-50.
It's actually 60% in favor of Adam Peters making the right move.
It's close to 50-50. I think people, a lot of people really liked him and still were clinging to he could still be the guy, and then others they really like the new regime and just want to trust him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Here,
so they still get the benefit of the doubt.
You can chime in 800-636-1067. You can call us on the MGM National Harbor listener lines. A couple other tweets. This person says, yes, because anytime we can pick up assets, it's a good thing. All about the future. I was hoping we traded John Allen for assets as well. Appears this regime can draft well. We'll see. Good drafting is the key, so stack up on picks. Carbon Primo writes, yes, because it seems as if this is a precursor to another move. Also, we got to trust AP and DQ here. They're building this team in their image.
Well, that's the other thing is if this is a precursor, like some people do think that they're not. Well, it could be somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's throw out Ayuk. Okay, if it's a precursor for another move to upgrade that position, okay, then obviously it's a very good move. If it's not, and they just don't like Dotson to what they want to do offensively, and then they are just building picks for the future, okay, then I think that hurts the team this year. Not that Dotson's great, but I just think that they're depleted offensively. What if McLaurin gets hurt? And he got hurt last year. What if he misses 4, 5, 6 games? I mean, who are they going to throw to?
They'll keep doing that sideways pass.
I mean, that would be a major major issue if
that's
they
how
didn't
the
have him
league
out.
is. That's what the league does for the most part.
Not to that extent.
I'm just saying, if it's a precursor to another move, okay, we'll see. But we're getting down to crunch time. It's August 23rd.
I'm guessing it's not a precursor to another move.
Don't know, yeah.
Look, there's also the possibility.
I didn't think they were going to keep. I didn't think they were going to trade Dotson either.
There's also the possibility that Oz, Olamide Zaccheaus, blows up and has a really good season.
What does Oz need to do to impress you? Because you're very hard to impress. You always want like all stars everywhere. What impresses you? I'm curious. What's the bar?
I think if their offense. Let's take Oz out of it. I'll go with your theory of, Oz is going to do something. Luke McCaffrey's going to do something.
Diami's going
to do something.
Yeah.
If the offense is better and scores more than they did last year, and you don't have a problem with the passing game, then it's fine. It doesn't have to.
They're going to do all that. They're going to score more than they did last year.
Well,
do you think they won't score more than last year?
They better.
They're gonna.
I would think
I'll be stunned if they don't.
think because of just simply Jaden Daniels' running ability.
Sure,
but they might not have enough in the passing
Better
game.
Offensive coordinator.
They might not have enough in the passing game.
They might what?
They might not have enough in the passing game.
Okay.
And look, why are the Eagles loading up? Because the passing game has taken over in the NFL. You could still win running the football, and you do need to run the football.
I don't think this is going to be like Bill Callahan pound the football 80% of the time. They could throw. They got a bunch of guys they could throw to. All the receivers who you may not like.
They're all subpar.
I don't know that. I don't know that they are.
I think at the end of the day in the NFL,
average.
I think you got to have some studs, man. You got to have studs to score.
Well, I think their studs.
I don't think you can just say, all right, they got enough guys that can do this and that, and they can, add up their numbers, and their numbers are going to be good, and they'll score points. I don't know. I think on paper you have to have some studs,
and I don't think it helps your quarterback. Like the Bears, I think are doing it the right way. Right? They drafted a quarterback just like the Commanders. And they had DJ Moore. So let's just say DJ Moore and McLaurin are a wash. And then they added a stud in Keenan Allen, and then they drafted a stud.
Yeah, you got to have players.
I think they have some studs. I think they have Austin Eckler 1 year after being one of the most dynamic backs in the game. He's been underutilized.
No, he's a stud if he's 100%. Yeah, I like Eckler.
And Kingsbury's even said, he said yesterday in his presser, this notion that he's lost a step.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So we just haven't shown him
I
yet.
believe that.
I think, by all accounts, Ertz, it looks like he's playing at a high level. You want to say throw him out because he hadn't done anything in a few years? Fine. I'm willing to put a decent amount of money. Sinnett's going to be a really good player.
I hope so. They drafted him high.
I'm not saying I hope. I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah, but you're talking about running back and tight end.
Well, I'm saying they're going to have to compensate a little bit. Because I
need
agree,
guys at receiver.
They don't have Devontae Smith as your number 2.
Yeah.
I agree.
Did you see what happened with New England the last couple seasons? Now it's a different quarterback. But they didn't have weapons for Mac Jones to throw to, and they had a very underwhelming offense. Now, a lot of that has to do with Mac Jones, maybe. But
I think a lot
has
has
to
to
do
do with
anybody
that.
throw to.
I think that they're going to scheme these guys open, and Jaden's going to open up stuff with his running ability and the play action. I think it's going to be fine.
I don't think defenses are going to be scared of their receivers.
No, they're not. All right, let's go to the phones.
They don't have to be. They could just be scared of what Jaden could do.
I don't know. There's a bunch of questions. For me, there's a bunch of questions.
But I agree. They don't have a Devontae Smith number 2 or who was San Francisco's number 2? I don't even know.
Ayuk.
Debo? I don't know.
Ayuk
Like,
and
who's their
Debo.
number 2?
Ayuk, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Debo.
And by the way, they have Kittle.
Yeah.
Well,
and they have
they've got
McCaffrey. out
McCaffrey.
backfield, all better than everything that Washington has. Now, that's the premier
I stipulate
NFC
to that.
team.
Yeah, that's the team that could win the whole thing.
But you could find other teams that just have more weapons. Most of the teams do. Like,
All
if
right.
you just looked right now
I
at
agree.
receiving core, they got to be in the bottom 5 in the NFL.
By name.
Yeah, and you look at McLaurin. And McLaurin's good, but is he that true
All right,
number
our
one
passing
superstar?
game will be better than 27th in the NFL. Anybody want to? You're basically saying we have bottom 5 receiving.
Why
core.
is 27th what they finished last year?
No, he said that they have the 5th worst receivers.
Well,
Or whatever.
but I'd do
I don't know where they're gonna
I'd do
rank.
that bet on wide receiver production.
I don't know where they're going to rank, but it doesn't scare you.
I'm not obsessed with one position. I'm looking at it more collectively. I think we're going to move the ball. I think we're going to score points. I stipulate we don't have an elite number 2, but I don't. But I think we can make it up in other
I
areas.
think you should stipulate they don't even have a pretty good number 2.
Maybe.
Would stipulate that.
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
and I would even go so far as they don't even have an average number 2. They have a below average
they
number
have
2 right now.
Who hasn't produced the numbers that you like, but they might argue with you on that. Say he'll be fine.
I think you can. What if a defense is going to take McLaurin out,
Mhm.
all right,
They
and then
should.
all of a sudden you got a rookie quarterback looking for guys like Zacchaeus and De'Ami Brown and a rookie tight end.
Well, they'll dump off to the
Rookie tight end is the
backs or
backup,
whatever.
by the way, right now.
Okay, but he thinks Sinnett's going to be a star.
I think Sinnett has a chance. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
I
you
don't know.
look.
I
Luke,
just think
they
that-
love Luke too, moving all these guys all
I get
around.
it. I think the way you have to look at it is, it's just kind of all of it's part of a plan, and they're trying to groom a young stud rookie quarterback, make him better this year, learn a lot, and then in the next couple of years, that's when you're starting
If
to put
they
that
thought
team together.
pulling Jahan was going to hurt Jaden's develop, they never would have done it. They don't
No,
think
they don't.
for a second that
I
pulling
agree.
Jahan is going to hurt Jaden. So just
I agree with that.
He's not one of their guys.
He's just,
It's what
they didn't like
happens.
him on the field. They
They
just
got
didn't.
rid of probably 70% of the roster from last season at this point.
Yeah.
they definitely didn't love the roster. All right, let's go to Edward. Edward, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the show. So
Sure.
I am 100% in favor of this move. I looked at a few. There was one tape I looked at. It was a block that Jahan Dotson was supposed to be engaged in downfield. He looked like he was playing more of patty cake than he was of actually blocking. I mean, if they want a physical receiver that can block downfield, which we know Terry does, De'Ami Brown can do that, and he wasn't doing that, he might have looked like he was checked out. Now, I think Brian Mitchell, might have said too, like you guys say, he's not going to call him out.
Mm-hmm.
But it said like he didn't probably believe he should be competing for the number 2 job. Well, if you don't think you should can compete no matter what your position is, then you don't belong in the NFL. Because I don't care what your level is, you should always want to come in and compete number 1 every day, no matter if you're the number 1 receiver or number 3 receiver. And here's another problem I have. This isn't with the team. This is with the fans. Everybody was hashtag and Adam Peters we trust. And the second he makes a move like this,
They question it.
Hashtag and Adam Peters we trust. The hashtag Adam Peters, what are you
I'm
doing?
with you.
Yeah.
Like we have to stop this because we've been such abysmal type of organization, team, fan base, and even a city with the team. That the second we have somebody here trying to rebuild this thing, it's like somebody thought we was going to win 12 games this year. If you did, you're stupid. You're dumb. And you need to go back to school. And I'm not talking about college. I'm talking about kindergarten.
All right, Ed, we got to run. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ed,
All right,
thank
good
you,
points.
bud.
Good points.
Thank you. Let's go to Owen in D.C. Owen, what's up? 800-636-1067 if you want to chime in. Owen, what's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, guys? I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Thanks.
Love the show. I wanted to give some input. So first off, what I thought immediately was the 5th and the 7th essentially cancel. Getting Dotson at a third-round price is pretty good. I don't think we're getting that again. I think it's kind of the definition of Ashburn syndrome to glaze Jahan here. I mean, he had a great rookie year. I was high on him. Clearly wasn't all that last year. They haven't been impressed in camp. And I think the most telling thing is DQ faced this guy, 4, 5, 6 times as a defensive coordinator. He clearly did not scare him one bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Felt
good point.
comfortable enough to move on.
Well, I got to give Grant credit because he found a clip I saw last night where Peter Schrager, who I guess is really close with Cliff Kingsbury, was on Pat McAfee's show back in 22, I think it was.
Okay.
And they were talking about the receivers and preparing for the draft, and they were trying to find a receiver. I think that's when they acquired Hollywood Brown, right? Didn't the Cardinals acquire Hollywood Brown? And he went through all the receivers, and he knew he wasn't going to be. And he said he was kind of shocked that Dotson went where he went.
That high.
So in other words, kind of
I saw
alluding
that.
to
Yeah.
Kingsbury wasn't high on him as a fit coming out of college.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you saw, like, in the war room and all that, like, Peters, DQ would go over to Cliff before they took Sinnott. All those guys ask his input. So they clearly got his input on this, too. I don't think it's that big of a loss. The only thing that scares me is JD's development. If it's a precursor to another move, I think it's a home run play. Obviously, I want Ayuk in D.C. I think we could pay him while JD's young, but you never know what's going to happen. I think we'll be fine either way. We got to lean on the tight ends and the running backs. This is probably what we were going to do anyways.
Right.
So Terry's got the show. I hope it doesn't hurt him too much because, I mean, he's had horrible quarterback luck, and now it looks like he doesn't have much receiving help. But, hey, I trust the guys. I think getting a third-round pick is good. Now go ship it off to San Francisco.
All right, I know that'll be enough. But, all right, thank you, Owen. Appreciate it. Again, I think Jahan could win enough one-on-one without extra help, and that just was going to be a big pain in the ass for them, and so they just had to move on. And they think the other guys are better
they can
at
do
that.
it. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I have to,
you have to, just because Diami made a nice catch in a preseason game, you saw Diami play for the last 2 years. All right? He didn't do anything. Is all of a sudden just because Kingsbury's there and Daniels is stud rookie quarterback, he's going to become a legit number 2?
I don't think anybody thinks that.
I think you got to question that.
I don't think he's going to come in and catch 70 balls, but I think he could catch 40. And you get a couple guys catch 40.
Well, that's what we thought in the last couple of years, and he couldn't even stay on the field.
Right.
I was looking just around the league, and I'm just going to rip through these. Now,
What, you got
some of
number
these teams are
twos?
huge. Well, no, just receiving rooms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm just going to go with the top 2 or 3. You got teams like the Dolphins, got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. The Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. The Texans, they added Stephon Diggs to Collins and Dell, who were pretty good last year. The Eagles, obviously, in the division
Stud
with
quarterback,
A.J. Brown. You've got, we mentioned the Bears, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, they draft Odunze. The Rams got Cooper Kupp and Nakua. You've got the Seahawks, got DK Metcalf and Lockett, and they drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got the Jets, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams. In the division now, and there are some teams that don't have it, that might have like a premier. Like I think the Vikings have a huge drop-off after Justin Jefferson. The Cowboys have a huge drop-off after CeeDee Lamb. But Brandon Cooks has actually had 1,000-yard
And you also have a
seasons.
veteran quarterback who
Yeah.
led the league in touchdown passes last year.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a little different. He
In
can
the
find
division,
guys.
the Giants were like, we need to step up. They got Malik Neighbors, unproven, obviously, as a rookie. Looks great in the preseason. Their number 2 is Wandale Robinson. I was like, that's not that good. He had 60 catches last year.
Yeah, I mean, the room doesn't scare you. And again, if you're a defensive coordinator and you're looking at that passing offense going, all right, it's a rookie quarterback. We're going to show him some things he hadn't seen. Let's take McLaurin out. We'll do our best to double him. Make Zacchaeus beat us. Make Diami beat us.
In the Commanders' defense, JP, you would have been saying the same thing about the Houston's wide receiving room last year, and you just ripped them off as the number 3 this year.
I didn't say they were the number 3. I said they have 3 good threats.
Well, I'm just saying.
I wasn't ranking them.
You're just. I mean, you're saying how much of a threat the wide receiving room in Houston.
Because
was.
they've proven.
I know, but I'm saying last year you would have had the same. You would have the same gripes about the wide receiing room in Houston.
You would have said on paper.
You would have said Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Who are these bums? That's what.
Yeah. But they've proven something.
And they
Right.
they had a
By the
great
way,
quarterback throwing.
But also, they were younger. I think. Let's look up when Nico Collins was drafted and how many years he's put together. I mean, Zacchaeus has been in the league for 5 seasons. De'Ami Brown's been in the league for 3 seasons.
Haven't we been through the Zacchaeus thing? Wasn't he behind?
Like Nico Collins.
Wasn't he behind Studs?
Nico Collins.
Yes,
he did blow up, but he was in his 3rd year.
I don't know.
And
If studs in plural studs? No, I don't necessarily think studs plural, but Drake London, right?
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But for whatever reason, look who the quarterback was.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess here's what I'd say is
you have to have a quarterback to get to.
I think JP's
ball
trying
to
to
these
put together
guys.
a dream team, and that would be ideal, but I don't think that's real.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been I think some of these guys might fit the category of role player, but it doesn't mean that it's a diminished role or it's not a necessary role. So I agree. You don't have a Pro Bowl wide receiver 2.
Well, usually,
Big deal.
Since you use the dream team analogy, when you have a bunch of role players, you end up losing.
No, you got to sprinkle it in. You got to have a little of everything. I would prefer to have Brandon Ayuk.
And I just gave you
But
over a third of the league have 2 or 3 established
And then you were
receivers.
talking
let's see
about,
if
and then
somebody doesn't
Eric was
emerge.
talking about Zacchaeus behind studs, plural. Yeah, last year because he was in Philly. So he's with Atlanta and then Philly, and then obviously in Philly he's behind.
Right, I mean,
2
sometimes
stud
guys just
receivers.
need an opportunity. I don't know.
Maybe.
These guys are all talented.
He's 5 seasons deep.
All right, so maybe he'll just be terrible.
I mean,
Hey, he could be a guy. Sometimes the back of the
well,
baseball
I don't know.
card
To be a
the
guy
outlier
to you,
season.
you got to catch 70 balls. That's the only way you're going to be impressed.
Just give me
Still,
at least Jahan Dotson production.
Well, it might be a committee thing.